A train speeding through the English countryside at nearly 250 miles per hour was the big dream behind HS2, or High Speed 2. It was Britain's plan to build the fastest, newest rail network in over 100 years. HS2 promised faster journeys, less crowded trains, and thousands of new jobs. It aimed to boost the economy, connect different regions, and show the world that Britain could still build huge modern projects. But today, HS2 is far from that dream. Instead of a success story, it is full of delays, soaring costs, and broken promises. What started as a £33 billion plan now looks like it could cost over £100 billion. And some parts might never be built at all. How did this happen? Why did Britain's £100 billion rail dream turn into a nightmare? And what lessons can we learn from this massive failure? If you want to learn more about big projects and how they rise and fall, make sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button. Welcome to Built to Collapse. What was HS2? The dream and the plan. HS2 was announced in 2010 as Britain's big plan to modernize its railways. The idea was simple: build a high-speed train line that would connect London to the Midlands, and then on to big cities like Manchester and Leeds in the north. The benefits sounded very promising. It would cut the travel time between London and Birmingham from 1 hour, 21 minutes, down to just 49 minutes. It would also ease crowded trains on the old West Coast Main Line, create thousands of jobs during and after construction, and help boost the economy in parts of the country that had been left behind. HS2 was the biggest building project in Britain in over 100 years. It promised to change how people travel, support new homes, and help the environment by getting more people to choose trains instead of cars or planes. The initial budget and timeline. When HS2 was first announced, the government said it would cost about £33 billion and would be finished by 2026. At first, many people thought this price was high, but they believed the benefits would be worth it in the long run. The idea was exciting. After years of using slower, crowded trains, Britain was finally planning to build a fast, modern railway. People hoped this new train line would change travel for the better. They looked at other countries like France and Japan, where high-speed trains like the TGV and Shinkansen had been very successful for decades. These trains made travel faster and easier, helping people get to work or visit family quickly. Many believed HS2 could do the same for Britain, cutting travel times, creating jobs, and helping the economy grow in parts of the country that needed it most. For a while, hope was high, and the future looked bright. The engineering challenge: building a high-speed rail in Britain. Building a high-speed railway is always a big challenge, and HS2 was no different. Britain's land is full of old towns, farms, and special natural areas that need careful protection. Engineers had to find ways to build strong tunnels, bridges, and tracks that could handle trains traveling close to 250 miles per hour. There were many difficult problems to solve. For example, they had to make sure people's homes and communities near the new railway were protected as much as possible. They also needed to build through tough places like ancient forests and rivers. On top of that, the new stations had to connect well with the trains people already use every day. Even with all these challenges, it wasn't impossible. Countries like France and Japan faced similar problems and found smart solutions years ago. The real trouble for HS2 started only after construction had begun. Escalating costs, from £33 billion to over £100 billion. This is where the trouble started. Once construction began, the costs began to rise quickly. What was first planned to cost £33 billion soon jumped to £56 billion, then to £75 billion. And some reports even said it might go over £100 billion, more than 3 times the original budget. Why did the price get so high? There were a few main reasons. Building tunnels and bridges turned out to be much harder and more complicated than expected. Buying land and helping people move from their homes along the route also cost more than planned. Inflation and delays made everything more expensive as time went on. Plus, the government kept changing parts of the route and the stations, which added even more costs. For taxpayers, the rising price caused a lot of worry, and many began to ask, is HS2 really worth all this money? Route cuts and delays, the North left waiting. HS2 was originally planned in two main parts. The first, called Phase 1, would run about 140 miles from London to Birmingham. The second, Phase 2, was supposed to continue from Birmingham up to Manchester and Leeds in the north. However, politics got in the way of these plans. In 2021, the government decided to cancel the part of the line going to Leeds and delayed the Manchester section with no clear plan to start building it. This decision upset many people in the north who felt forgotten once again. The project was meant to help the whole country grow and connect, but now it looked like only the South and Midlands would see the benefits. Even the first phase from London to Birmingham has faced many delays. These holdups have pushed the opening date further and further into the future, leaving people frustrated and unsure about what will happen next. Political turmoil and changing priorities. HS2 has been a difficult topic for politicians right from the start. Different governments have come and gone, each with different priorities. Some leaders saw HS2 as a symbol of a modern and growing Britain, a big step forward for the country. But others thought it was a waste of money, especially as the costs kept going up. They felt the money could be better spent on important things like healthcare and schools. On top of that, many people were worried about the damage HS2 could cause to the environment. Local communities also protested because the project meant losing their homes and land. These political fights made decisions slow and uncertain. This uncertainty made it hard for workers and investors to know what would happen next, causing delays and adding to the challenges of building such a big project. Public backlash, environmental concerns, and community impact. HS2 is more than just building new trains. It affects real people and places. To make room for the railway tracks, thousands of homes and businesses had to be knocked down. Ancient forests were cut down too, and people living nearby faced constant noise, dust, and disruption in their daily lives. Many environmental groups spoke out against the project, saying it was hurting nature and asking if the benefits were really worth all the damage. As more people grew upset, it became harder for HS2 to keep public support. What once was a project that made the country proud slowly turned into a symbol of government waste and broken promises. This change in how people saw HS2 added to the challenges, making it tougher for the project to move forward and stay on track. How does HS2 compare to other high-speed rail systems? France's TGV and Japan's Shinkansen are often praised as examples of successful high-speed trains. These networks were built many years ago with strong support from their governments. They had clear plans and faced less political trouble during construction. Both countries built their rail system step by step, carefully managing costs to avoid big overspending. Their projects focused on connecting major cities without causing too much disruption to the people living nearby. In contrast, HS2 has to deal with one of the busiest and most crowded rail networks in Europe. This makes building it much harder, slower, and more expensive. The crowded landscape, old towns, and busy train lines add to the complexity. Because of this, HS2 faces bigger challenges than the TGV or Shinkansen did, which partly explains why it has taken longer and cost much more than planned. The current status in 2025. As of 2025, HS2 is still not finished. The first part, from London to Birmingham, is still under construction, and the second part, which was supposed to go to northern cities like Manchester and Leeds, has been partly cancelled or delayed with no clear plan to start. The cost of the project keeps rising, with no one really knowing when it will be done. Many people are worried that HS2 might end up costing taxpayers far more than expected, or that parts of it will be cut even further. Supporters of HS2 believe that once finished, it will bring big benefits to the economy and help modernize Britain's train system. But after so many delays and price increases, the public's patience is starting to run thin, and many are asking if the project is still worth it. What can we learn from HS2's nightmare? HS2 teaches us some important lessons about big projects. Having big goals is great, but it's just as important to plan carefully. Projects need to be realistic about how much time and money they will take from start to finish. Another key lesson is that political stability really matters. When leaders and their priorities keep changing, even the best ideas can get lost or delayed. It's also very important to think about the people who live near the project. Successful projects work together with local communities, not against them. Finally, being open and honest with the public helps build trust and keeps support strong. HS2 shows us that even with the best intentions, big projects can run into trouble if there isn't strong management and a clear plan to follow. These lessons can help make future projects better and more successful. What's next for HS2? Will it ever live up to the big promises? Will Britain finally have the fast, modern rail network it dreamed of? Or will HS2 remain a warning about how big plans can go wrong? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear, this £100 billion project shows us the importance of dreaming big and building smart. What do you think? Should HS2 keep going, or is it time to stop and rethink? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video useful, please like, share, and subscribe to Built to Collapse for more stories about big projects, their successes, and their failures. Thanks for watching.